Since Clarissa works for MTV, I thought it'd be fun to teach her how to cut up her oversized t-shirt into something fun that she can actually wear. It is a really clever, ingenious way to just take t-shirt and play around and make something kind of fun. So you ready to start?
I am.
All right, cool. Okay, so when I first started cutting, I would cut the bottom of the base. Basically what I cut off was anything that was manufactured by the company. These tops, I just didn't know how to cut it straight. I would think, oh, nothing would cut straight. I can't get it straight across. Of course, I've cut like 3,000 t-shirts now, so I know how to cut straight. And I remember I was so frustrated and I just went like this. And I went, oh my God, I didn't need to cut it straight. It rolls across. Jersey is like the easiest material to work with. It gives you that little like 1/8 of an inch roll that you can't really worry about it. And my whole kind of styling is we're all on the go, we're all on the run. We don't really have time to be perfect, so don't try. The next thing I found out was, wow, because I'm such a ADD, short attention span person, I went, that's so cool. That's like, now this becomes my sides, my spaghetti, okay? And that was always like the big reveal for me when I would make this in front of people, because this is it, babe. This is what puts the whole t-shirt together. Okay, so when I first started making the tops, I started selling them at the Fairfax Hollywood Flea Market. It was so much fun. But you know, I used to cut straight up and down. And then I would watch when I put the shirt on a woman at the flea market on Sunday, or a girl, that it would slide up her body because we have curves. So I learned to cut at an angle, basically to start wider at the bottom and narrow in at the top. And then I kind of curved back out again. So again, pulling, not having to cut straight, pulling, this happens to be a great t-shirt. It's not a fair example, but because all t-shirts are all different materials, some of them will cut more jagged, but once you pull it, it just pulls taut. Now, what most people could do is they could just cheat it, because I like to cheat everything and cut it in at the same time. But if you did cut it too small, you have no time to make up for it. So what I decided to do was, okay, I don't trust myself just yet. Why don't I just go back down the other way? A logo, it really helps because it's the centering of the T. It kind of gives you a starting ground. A shirt that doesn't have any sort of logo on it can be a little more difficult. I also learned that I have small shoulders as a woman. A man has much larger shoulders. If I cut it in half and then measured the other side with my hands, I could then cut down. Again, angling for curves. Because women are tinier and not as long, or not as tall, the t-shirt becomes, t-shirts are long in style now, but all this material just will basically tent someone in. So I also sort of just intuitively started to figure out, well, why don't I just cut at the bottom where it started to fan out too much. And there you have your shape. I always personally like to cut the tags out because I want it to be my creation. And now what I also found too is that cutting the body is the easy part. Lacing is the most difficult. Again, knowing that your arm, look, here's the MTV logo. Well, I would figure, okay, well, I would just go a little bit below that and begin to make my holes. The holes can be the most difficult. You want to have a sharp scissors with a sharp point, and you want to cut just a very tiny little small hole that you can poke your finger through. The bigger the hole, the more it's going to stretch naturally on you. So if you start small, it'll have room to stretch. Also, when this material pulls taut, it gives you this, it's like it's almost guiding you to success. It allows you to know if you cut too close to the edge, the hole will rip. So you want to have this little roll of the jersey that allows you to cut inside of that. And I like to cut about 1 inch in between each hole. What I learned too is you don't have to cut the same on each side. It doesn't matter. And I'll show you how when we get to that side. Then I take my spaghetti and I pull this taut. And again, when I do this at parties, lacing takes the longest. So you pull it through and you make it even. And then it doesn't really matter how you crisscross it. It's like tying a shoe. You can go over, under, over. It doesn't really matter. The whole idea is that we're just now closing the top up. And it's so funny, in the 3 years that this was my primary business, people would always say, I want that shirt with the laces on the side. And I would say, good, because that's the only way I can make it. All right, so now measuring. Now the other thing I learned too, because I just don't have a lot of patience, and I'm not somebody that wants to sit and mark things and figure it out. I just sort of learned that I would take my scissors and guide it across the way to the other side of the arm and make again my snips. Now, because every side is different, both sides are different, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you cut more holes on this side than you do on the other. You don't even have to figure it out because no one's ever going to see it. No one's ever going to notice it. Long time to learn to cut this as like a half crescent, because again, we want it to be a feminine top for a woman. So what I learned to do was to cut this in so it became very feminine. And then, because it's always nice to show skin, V-necks are not always the easiest thing to do either. What I learned is if I took the top and tried to make a V-neck from here, I'd always have a little point sticking out. So I learned to cut from the bottom up, so down and then up. And if it doesn't cut totally straight, just pull it taut. So here is this little top. Doesn't it look cute?
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, so nice and shapely, nice colors. One thing you'll notice when you make the top the first time, you're gonna say, oh my God, I made it so small. But the whole thing is it's been laced without you. So once you put it on, it's going to stretch with your body and it's gonna fit fine. But if you have broader shoulders like you do, at first you're gonna be like, I can't really wriggle myself into it. But basically you wanna get yourself into it the first time, and then like a pair of jeans, it just stretches. So look how great this fits. You can do it yourself. It fits awesome. What I also learned is I like it to be very closed. So I like it to be that's why I like to put the holes closer together. You can also throw a tank top underneath, but I also learned that I would just anchor it down so it would stay in place and not move up my body or up the client's body, because some women, you know, they're a little curvier, so that it would roll up the side of their bodies. So I just turn them to the side and I pull all this down so that it pulls it very taut and tight. And I just anchor it again here. And I also did double over these pieces here. We'll even these out, which I thought I did. It's nice to keep this, what I also learned too, I used to keep the straps, I used to keep them long because I thought people could cut them shorter. But when they got cut short, they sat in an awkward spot. So I learned keeping them long actually became kind of a detail. And then I just evened them out. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is show you the neckline. Sometimes it'll buckle, or maybe you won't cut it perfectly, or you'll have a little piece here and you'll go, God, I screwed it up. So what I also learned to do is how to cover what someone might think is a mistake. To me, nothing is a mistake. It's just the next step. So I took this from the bottom of the band of the t-shirt. I'm curving it, and now I'm going to pull this tight, and we're going to make a cute little closure. So I'm putting holes all around it. Doesn't matter how even they are. It'll also help sometimes if your t-shirt is got a heavy graphic on it. Graphics pull on the jersey, and sometimes the graphic will buckle depending on your bra, because you're wearing a little more of a molded bra. Some of the molded bras, it's harder to get the jersey over it, so you might think it's too small in the beginning. This also helps that too. So then I feed this in, and it's kind of like whip stitching it. What's great about it is it started out as a V-neck, but because now the tension of your bust with the top, let's pull this down a little bit. even that out. It becomes this really groovy little neckline. You can either leave it straight or tie it off to the side. For me, I really wanted this to be as fashionable as possible. I didn't want it to be just the generic cut up t-shirt. So it's always, for me, it's always about an aesthetic and making something look as high fashion as it can, even if it's just paired with your jeans. So let's see. So let's stand back, because doesn't that look great?
Yeah, I think this is really cool.
I know all of you have many oversized t-shirts that either you can get rid of, or now you can cut them up into your own creations.